Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Augusto Argandoña Fine Arts. Anytime in the course of this narrated tutorial, you can click on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And also I would appreciate if you can send me your comments in regards to this video that you are going to be seeing, and for that matter, any other videos that are in my channel. If you want to learn more about my virtual classes or want to see my paintings, you can do so in my website at aafinearts.com. This tutorial is one in a series of tutorials that I've been doing about painting street scenes with watercolors. This particular street could be anywhere in the Northeast, maybe Midwest, around the Atlantic coast, probably not so much on the West Coast, but probably not here in Florida either, unless maybe around the Panhandle. But it will be a scene that is fairly typical of any small city or small town or medium-sized town, a downtown type city street. So without much more to talk about it, I'm going to go ahead and paint it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to have this area, this side of the street, the buildings on this side are going to be in the sunlight, and everything here is going to be in the shade. So the sunlight's coming from the left side, bathing these buildings on this so the side of the street. So there will be some fairly large shadows in this area as well from this building and the trees around this the sidewalk. I used pretty much just a one-point perspective, the point being somewhere around there, and everything just going that direction, and from there over here as well for everything on that other side of the street. I don't use a ruler. I do everything freehand. I'm quite adept at drawing, especially when it comes to perspective. That's probably because of my training as an industrial designer. I haven't been practicing the profession for many years since I made a career change many years ago, dedicating myself entirely to painting and mainly in watercolors. So, as I said, there will be a lot of sunlight in this area, a lot of shadows and shade in this area. I mean shadows on the street, but shade in this area. It will be fairly dark over here. So these trees are going to be a little bit of not so much summer, but perhaps somewhere between summer and autumn. I like the colors, so that's the way I'm going to paint it. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start by the sky. I primarily use flat brushes. I have round brushes, but for the most part I prefer to paint with my flat brushes, and that's probably what I'm going to use the most here, except perhaps on the trees and some of the details, the windows and so forth. So I'm going to be adding some water, skipping the areas where these buildings will be. And a little bit more water over here, coming over here, like that. And all the way down here. Like that. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and use some cobalt blue, maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue also, not too much. And just do a fairly light sky, not elaborate not elaborating too much, just a fairly light sky like that. And I'm also going to go ahead and use a little bit of yellow ochre for the distant areas. The yellow ochre and blue ultramarine don't make a green, so that's a beautiful combination. So, like I said, I'm going to keep the sky fairly light. I'm going to add just a tad bit of cobalt blue into this corner, like that. There we are, and that's about it for the sky. So, and while that is drying, I'm also going to go ahead and add some water for this sidewalk and the edge of the sidewalk, not so much the sidewalk, but the edge, and the street, including some of these cars. Because of the amount of sunlight that will be over here, this street will be fairly light, but there will also be some strong shadows. So I think I'm going to add some water there too. And I'm going to make a kind of a grayish color using cobalt blue and brown matter. Fairly light color, a nice gray. And I'm going to enlarge the image on my screen here. Okay, and so I'm just, that's too much. I'm going to add less color. There we are. Just give it a little indication of the colors on the pavement. And doing my brush strokes in the direction of the perspective too, like that. I'm going to add a little bit more, this time a little bit of ultramarine to that mixture, and come over here. A little bit of the brown matter too. A little darker on the foreground. I'm going into much lighter into the background. So that's about it. Also gonna bring in a touch of burnt sienna. Kind of warm this up a little bit. There we are. There, that's the color we wanted to get. There. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. And while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and see, I think I'm gonna do some of these buildings. But I'm gonna paint most of the buildings all at the same time, because some of these are brick buildings. There will be some wood siding or maybe stonework, but for the most part there will be brick. So for that I'm going to use some yellow ochre and some burnt sienna, and start adding some of these colors. There will be yeah, I'm going to do this. A little bit more burnt sienna. There we are. This building over here will be the same, so I'm going to bring that down here. Skip the area where that tree will be. This lower area will be white. And I'm going to put another building over here, kind of brick, light. A little bit of brown matter mixed there. There we are, like that. this other building too. Like I said, I'm painting all of this all at the same time together, like that. I'm gonna change brushes to a smaller flat brush and get some light gray over here. There'll be some I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a greenish tint to one of these buildings, this area, like that. Just a little bit of that, a little lighter. Then I'm going to use a little bit of cobalt blue for the distant buildings over here. Like that. I'm going to use a little bit of mineral violet and rose madder actually over here. Like that. There. A little bit of the yellow ochre also coming down over here. Very subtle, very pastel type colorations for these buildings into the distance. I'm going to bring a little bit more brown matter and the ultramarine blue to these walls here. There. This area is going to be, these walls are going to be in the shade side, but still, because of the reflective colors of the other buildings, there will be kind of light, but still have the coloration of the bricks. And I'm going to do that over here too. Like that. Then I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre and do a little bit more on this, the facade of some of these buildings. A little bit of brown matter. Like that. A little bit more of the brown matter, this time with burnt umber, and do this side of the building. And I'm going to start, they're kind of looking pretty much the same now, so I'm going to start darkening some of those walls. A little bit of ultramarine blue mixed with the brown matter and the burnt umber. And here we go. A little darker color there. There. There, like that. Then with a thirsty brush, I'm going to remove some of the pigment and lighten it up a little bit. There we are, like that. There, that's much better. I'm also gonna do some of that over here. Like that. And over here. There. All right. So now, this, like I said, this prompt was going to be very sunny looking. So I'm going to remove some of the pigmentation here. And bring it right down onto this tree. I'm going to mix that color right into this tree also. There we are. Now I'm going to get some round brush and pick up some raw sienna, some aureole in yellow, and a little bit of on the sea green, and do some of these trees. Like that. This is dry, see up. There we are. It's kind of a ball shaped, but I don't like that, so I'm gonna change it, get a little bit more of those colors, and break away from that round color, round shape, like that. I'm probably gonna change brushes again, and do another of these trees over here. And the distance, I'm going to use some cobalt blue mixed with that raw sienna. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water over here and get all those trees in the distance, like that. Some little raw sienna, some aureole in yellow. There. Soften them up a little bit. There we are. And do a little bit more of that shape. Break away from that round shape. There. All right, I'm going to leave that alone. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and do this tree here. For that, I'm going to use my mop brush. I'm going to add some water over here. This is dry, so this is great. I'm going to also add some water to these buildings on this side. And everything else over here. I think I'm going to go back to my flat brush. Everything over here will be very dark, except portions of this sidewalk over here, like that. And so now I'm going to add some yellow ochre here. Bring it all the way down. More of the yellow ochre. I'm going to bring some ultramarine blue, fairly dark. Right on top of the yellow ochre. Like that. Right down here. Then I'm going to bring in some ultramarine and the brown matter. Make a dark gray. And right over here like that. Also going to bring more of the brown matter, this time with a little bit of sepia. Darken this quite a bit more. Make this really dark. More sepia, brown matter and ultramarine. Notice how much I'm increasing the value of these colors. And come down to the sidewalk, bordering that tree. I think I'm going to come down over here too. And this sidewalk over here. Come down here like that. And like that. Pick up all that color right here and make this really dark. I'm going to darken a little bit more because this is going to dry much lighter. There we are. Now, while I'm have that shape like that there, I'm going to go ahead and do this tree. I'm going to use some raw sienna, fairly strong mixture of raw sienna, some burnt umber, and undersea green. Very strong color. And I'm going to start doing that, blend it right into the wet paper over here. I'm going to add some water, like that. Pick up some Payne's Gray also, mix it there. There we are. Bring it right down to this area. Very dark. Pick up some sepia, mix it there. Make a really dark color. Another tree back here. There, like that. I'm going to change brushes to a rounded brush. pick up more Payne's gray, brown, burnt umber, and continue shaping this tree. This is in the shade, that's why it's so dark. Like that. There. Kind of soft strokes because of the darkness being in the shade. There, like that. Okay, I'll let that dry, and we're gonna come back over here. I'm gonna add a little bit of water on the right hand side of these trees, and I come back with the same colors that I started with, and do a little bit of a darker treatment on the right hand side of the tree. Like that. Like that, there we are. Come over here, same thing, but I'm gonna do this kind of soft. There. And for the distance, I'm gonna get some violet. And the cobalt blue. Make sort of a violet color. And come over here and blend it right into those distant trees. Right like that. All right. This is very dark, not right now, but I'm gonna darken even more. I'm gonna come down with more ultramarine blue and brown matter, maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson before this dries completely. Blend it right into the tree. There we are. There. Now, this wall is going to be a little bit on the gray side. I'm going to get some blue on the gray. Like that. I'm going to add a little bit more burnt sienna to some of these walls, especially over here. Like that. And I'm going to get a little bit of the blue color right onto this, picking up reflective color from the sky. Same thing over here. And over here. Those walls will have a little bit of the reflective color from the sky. All right. So now we'll do those cars, and for that I'm going to use a smaller round brush. I'm going to pick up some of the gray colors that I have in my palette, and this car over here, a bit of sepia, and ultramarine blue. There we are. Get a little bit of a reddish tone, gray, maroon type color over here. And the wheels, the windows. I'll pick up some blue, mixed with that gray. And then I'll do all these windows. Like that. And I'm going to get some of this green with a gray. And this car over here. Yeah. Another reddish color here. And the black car over here. I'll do the wheels on all of this. And now I'm going to connect those wheels with the shadows underneath the cars. There we are. There. Do kind of a grayish tone for some of these windows. There we are. And now I'm going to take my round brush. All of this is dry, so we'll start doing some of the detailing. Fairly light areas of windows and architectural details we have here. Like that. There. Do a little bit of line there, put a little line over here, another line over there, and then do these windows. Make it a little darker. And some awnings. Some red awning there over here. Another one over there like that. Now I'll do some of the openings. Here we are. Store windows, things like that. Also going to pick up some shadow areas. Oh, there's little details. Like that. With a smaller brush, flat brush, and do a little bit more of those details. This person over here. Another person over here. And here. Vary the colors of their clothing. Like that. Give this one a little bit of a bluish aqua type shirt or jacket or something like that. There we are. And we'll add a few more details onto this. It's a tree there. There we are. Signs. colors for those signs. There are different colors over here too. There, like that. Now over here, I'm gonna wait for that to dry. And while that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and do this tree. Get some burnt umber on this gray that I have here. Pick up some cerulean blue and finish this tree. A bit of brown matter. Like that. And then do a little bit more of the branches. Here. Now we do this side of the building that's in the shade. Pick up quite a bit of ultramarine blue and sepia. Make a really dark section, and there we are. There's some storefronts and like this. That's a little bit of water here, blend it right into that tree. There we are. Pick up some round flat brush and cobalt blue and a little bit of brown matter, and do this like this. A little bit of mineral violet there. There we are. These windows. kinds of just varieties of color to indicate all these windows that are in the shade, store windows and things like that. And there will be some windows above also. There we are, like that. There'll be some architectural details. Blend it right into that foliage. And then an entrance to the store there. I'm going to get some more cobalt blue mixed with this brown and to the sidewalk. Pick up some of the color from this distant area and gradually bring it into the dark of this sidewalk over here. There we are, right like that. Now I'm also going to give this area a brick color. That curve there. Like that. Now I'm going to start, I'm going to wait for that dries a little bit more. I'm going to add some different colors on these windows. Like that. Some aureole and yellow. I'll start breaking up some of the colors here on these windows. There. Okay, so now I'm going to darken this tree a little bit more. It needs to be much darker. Get some sepia, some on the sea green, and paints gray. Like that. Like that. That's much better. Get some more of those colors. And do a little bit of A bit more detail in here for this foliage. There we are. There, that's good. Also, I'm going to darken this tree trunk. Like that. And get some detailing the branches. There we are, like that. And then I get a handy credit card for these branches. Like that. Credit card is ideally suited for this. There we are. That's enough for that. Now this is dry, almost dry. So I'm gonna do those people there. Put a person over here. Put another one with a lighter color shirt over here, or blouse or whatever, and maybe a reddish skirt. And then there. Maybe a little bit of pink over here. There we are. A couple of ladies. There. And now I'm going to do the sidewalk, this tree. Do some of the brickwork over here. That. So now we'll do the shadows, and for that I'm going to use a larger brush, and I'm going to use cobalt blue and brown matter. There we are. There we are. Soften some of those areas, shadows. Like that. nice shadows over here from these trees. A little bit of cerulean blue mixed there. Another set of shadows over here. Like that. A bit more cobalt blue. A bit more of the cerulean blue over here. There. And there we are. And minimize some of this foliage in the distance. It's too strong. There, like that. I'm also going to get some of the detailing of some of the store fronts and things like that over here. There. There, like that. There we are. And lastly, I'm going to add a little bit more color to some of those cars. Maybe a little bit more red to this car. There. There. A little bit of detailing over here. Like that. And then I'm going to take a flat, round, high bristle brush and pick up some of the sunlit sections of this tree trunk. There, like that. A little bit on this side too. There. That's it. And then that's pretty much it for all the details. I'm gonna straighten this up a little bit. There we are. Okay. So now I'm going to remove this tape and put this on a darker background so you will be able to see how this looks. How this looks like, which is a little bit hard to see on this messy color splattered board that when I tape the watercolor. Excuse my hand here. This top portion is really hard to remove all the time. Here we are, and here comes the dark board. And there we are. I'm going to minimize this a little bit so you can see. And there it is. Street scene with the, straighten this up, there we are. With a lot of light on this side of the street, all of this in the shade. Some of these nice shadows from this tree and all the trees that are along the sidewalk. Kind of a blending of these buildings right into all these trees that are in the distance. I probably should have less of this green, but I'm going to just leave it like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my channel. And you also visit my website at aafinearts.com. Thank you again. Until next time.